Dog won't stop barking at passenger's bag. What officers found inside shocked everyone. The international terminal at Hartsfield-Jackson Airport buzzed with Monday morning chaos. Sarah Collins stood at her post in customs, watching travelers shuffle through with their bleary eyes and rumpled clothes. Her partner Max, a Belgian Malinois with alert amber eyes, methodically sniffed the parade of luggage on the conveyor belt, his black and tan coat gleaming under the fluorescent lights. After 5 years together, Sarah could read every twitch of his ears, every subtle change in his posture, like a book. Today felt different somehow. There was an electricity in the air that made her skin prickle. "Stay focused, buddy," she murmured, adjusting her navy uniform. The morning crush of international arrivals created its usual symphony, wheeled suitcases clicking against tile, frustrated passengers arguing about declarations forms, boarding announcements echoing through the terminal. But Max moved with military precision, weaving between bags with practiced ease. His training showed in every calculated movement. The dog's sudden transformation stopped Sarah mid-stride. His entire body went rigid, ears snapping forward like radar dishes. A black Samsonite suitcase approached on the belt, expensive but unremarkable among the sea of similar bags. Max's bark shattered the terminal's rhythm, sharp and insistent, in a way Sarah had never heard before in their years together. This wasn't his usual alert for drugs or contraband. This was something else entirely. The bag's owner, Thomas Wheeler, according to his passport, stepped forward from the crowd. Everything about him screamed successful business executive, tailored charcoal suit that probably cost more than Sarah's monthly salary, gleaming Italian leather shoes, monogrammed cufflinks catching the light. But Sarah's trained eye noticed the subtle tells, a slight tremor in his manicured hands, beads of sweat despite the aggressive air conditioning, eyes that darted between exits like a cornered animal. "Officer, this is absurd," Wheeler protested, checking his Rolex for the 3rd time in a minute. "I have a connecting flight to Chicago in less than an hour. I'm already cutting it close after that delay in customs." Max's barking intensified, drawing curious stares from other travelers. Sarah had seen him alert to everything from cocaine to smuggled exotic animals, but this was different. There was an urgency in his stance that made her pulse quicken. His hackles rose as Wheeler shifted his weight, ready to move if the man tried anything. "Sir, we'll need to inspect your luggage," Sarah announced, signaling 2 fellow customs agents. Wheeler's composed facade cracked for just a moment, revealing something that sent ice through her veins, raw panic mixed with something darker, something dangerous. "I assure you, it's just clothes and some gifts for my family," he insisted, voice tight. "This is completely unnecessary." His fingers drummed against his thigh, tap, 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 a nervous rhythm that screamed guilty. Sarah noticed his other hand had slipped into his suit pocket. TSA agents Thompson and Rodriguez approached, their faces professionally neutral. Sarah noticed Wheeler's eyes tracking their movements, calculating odds and angles like a chess player. The terminal's usual buzz seemed to fade away, leaving only the sound of Max's relentless barking and the hum of the conveyor belt. "Standard procedure, Mr. Wheeler," Sarah said, keeping her voice steady. "If everything's in order, you'll make your flight." But something in her gut told her he wouldn't be going anywhere. Her instincts, honed by years on the job, were screaming that this was bigger than a routine customs check. As Sarah reached for the first latch, time seemed to slow. She caught Wheeler's reflection in the terminal's glass walls. His face had gone chalk white. Max's barking reached a fever pitch, drawing more attention from passing travelers who slowed to watch the drama unfold. The latch clicked open with an ominous finality. Sarah felt the weight of her decision pressing down. 5 years of training, countless successful searches, and yet something about this case felt different. Max had never been wrong, not once, but she'd also never seen him react with such intensity. The second latch released, and Wheeler took a half-step backward. Sarah's hand moved to her holster instinctively. Max positioned himself between Wheeler and the exit, his training kicking in without command. His low growl rumbled through the terminal. "Sir, "Please remain where you are," Sarah commanded, but she could see the calculation in Wheeler's eyes. The terminal seemed to hold its breath, passengers and staff alike sensing the tension building like a thunderstorm. Sarah lifted the lid, and everything she thought she knew about her job changed forever. What lay inside would turn a routine customs inspection into something that would shake the foundations of international security, testing not just her skills as an officer, but the unshakable bond between handler and dog. As alarms began to blare and Wheeler bolted, Sarah realized this was only the beginning. Whatever they'd just stumbled upon, there was no turning back now. She met Max's alert gaze, seeing in those amber eyes the same determination she felt coursing through her veins. "Max, detain!" she shouted, and her partner sprang into action as chaos erupted in the terminal. The hunt was on, and Sarah knew that this Monday morning would be anything but routine. The CDC team descended on Terminal C within minutes of discovering Wheeler's suitcase. Inside, nestled among pressed Brooks Brothers shirts and Hermes ties, lay 12 metal containers bearing biohazard symbols, each cushioned in custom-cut foam and equipped with sophisticated temperature controls and tracking devices. "Full evacuation protocol initiated," Agent Thompson announced over the radio, coordinating with the hazmat team. Sarah kept her eyes trained on Max, who maintained his alert stance despite the chaos erupting around them. The dog's earlier agitation now made perfect sense. He detected something far more sinister than typical contraband. Wheeler had disappeared during the initial evacuation, but not without leaving traces. Security footage showed him swiping into a restricted maintenance area using what appeared to be an employee access card. After ensuring Max was equipped with protective booties, a precaution given the unknown substances, Sarah followed the trail. "Find him, boy," she commanded, watching Max's nose work overtime as they navigated the labyrinth of service corridors. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, casting harsh shadows on the concrete walls. The normal sounds of the bustling airport felt distant here, replaced by the hum of industrial equipment and their own echoing footsteps. They tracked Wheeler to a lower-level storage facility where the sharp smell of jet fuel mingled with industrial cleaners. Max's sudden growl warned Sarah seconds before a cascade of metal crates crashed down behind them, blocking their exit route. The sound reverberated through the cavernous space. "Impressive canine you have there, Officer Collins," Wheeler's voice echoed from somewhere in the shadows. "Most dogs would have missed those containers entirely, but you really should have let this one go." He emerged from behind a concrete pillar, holding what appeared to be a remote detonator. His composed executive demeanor had vanished, replaced by something far more dangerous. "Those samples upstairs, just a fraction of what's already in motion," he continued, his finger hovering over the device. "You have no idea what you've stumbled into. This goes so much higher than your pay grade." Sarah kept her gun trained on Wheeler, while Max tensed beside her, ready to spring. "CDC's already identified your samples, Wheeler. Weaponized pathogens, modified for maximum spread. The WHO has protocols against this exact scenario." Wheeler's laugh echoed off the concrete walls. "You think I'm just another smuggler? This is bigger than you can imagine." He pressed something on his phone, and alarms immediately began blaring throughout the terminal above. "Security breach in Terminal B," Sarah's radio crackled. "Multiple unauthorized access points detected. Armed suspects reported." "So here's your choice, officer." Wheeler smirked, backing toward a service exit. "Chase me down here or save those people upstairs. You can't do both, and the clock's ticking." Sarah glanced at Max, seeing in his amber eyes the same determination she felt coursing through her veins. 5 years of training had prepared them for moments exactly like this. She keyed her radio. "Collins reporting, primary suspect cornered in lower maintenance sector, requesting immediate tactical response to Terminal B, possible coordinated attack." Wheeler's smirk faltered slightly. "You're making a serious mistake." "Max," Sarah commanded, her voice steady, "take him down." What followed was a blur of precise movement. Max launched himself at Wheeler as the man raised the detonator. Sarah dove forward, tackling Wheeler as Max clamped down on his arm with trained precision. The detonator skittered across the concrete floor. "You don't understand," Wheeler gasped as Sarah secured the handcuffs. "They're already here. This was just the diversion." "The real package is already moving." Sarah's radio crackled again. "Multiple suspects detained in Terminal B, foreign diplomatic credentials, high-level encryption equipment. Collins, what exactly did you and Max stumble into?" Sarah looked down at Wheeler, seeing real fear in his eyes for the first time. Whatever they'd uncovered went far beyond simple smuggling. She reached down to scratch behind Max's ears, earning a soft whine of appreciation. "Good boy," she whispered. "But I think our quiet days at customs are officially over." In the distance, federal response sirens wailed. Whatever conspiracy they'd uncovered, Sarah knew one thing with absolute certainty. She and Max would face it together. But as she led Wheeler toward the waiting tactical team, his words echoed in her mind. "They're already here." The real question was, who were they, and what was the real package? Above them, through layers of concrete and steel, another alarm began to sound. Sarah sat in her dimly lit Atlanta apartment, the glow of her laptop illuminating scattered photos across her desk, a timeline of her journey with Max. Her fingers traced the edges of their graduation photo, remembering the day that changed everything. Thunder rolled outside, matching her unsettled thoughts about the Wheeler case. 3 years earlier, the Georgia State K-9 training facility had buzzed with activity under the scorching summer sun. Sarah, fresh from a narcotics assignment that left permanent scars, both physical and emotional, had requested the K-9 unit transfer after losing her partner, Jake Martinez, in a raid gone wrong. His final words, "Trust your gut, Collins," still echoed in her nightmares. "Officer Collins," Sergeant Michael Martinez, Jake's older brother, called out across the training yard, "there's someone you need to meet." The Belgian Malinois emerged from his kennel, scanning the environment with calculating amber eyes. While other dogs barked and jumped excitedly, Max maintained an eerie focus that Sarah recognized, the look of someone who'd seen too much. "He's different," Martinez explained, running a hand through his salt and pepper hair. "Failed initial police training. Too independent, they said. Wouldn't follow standard protocols." Sarah noticed the jagged scar above Max's left eye, a testament to his troubled past. Rescued him from a fighting ring in South Georgia. Despite everything, he's got extraordinary detection abilities. Just needs someone willing to work with his style instead of against it. Their first month challenged everything Sarah thought she knew about K-9 training. Max tested boundaries relentlessly, and Sarah grappled with trust issues that ran bone deep. Each training session became a battle of wills, two broken souls trying to find common ground. The breakthrough came during a routine contraband detection exercise. Sarah, fighting a debilitating migraine from her old injury, missed a crucial signal. Max broke every protocol in the book, alerting in a way that defied his training. His instinct revealed a sophisticated cache that would have otherwise gone undetected. "You've got to trust yourself again," Martinez advised later, watching them train in the sweltering Georgia heat. "Max already trusts you completely. Look at how he checks your blind spots, anticipates your moves. That dog would walk through hell for you, Collins. Question is, would you do the same for him?" Sarah immersed herself in understanding Max's unique communication style. They developed their own language, blending standard training with intuitive responses that others might have dismissed as unorthodox. Their success rate soared, turning heads at the department. What others saw as Max's defects, Sarah recognized as invaluable adaptability. Now, watching Max sleep near her desk, Sarah reflected on their evolution. The Wheeler case had shaken her more than she cared to admit. Something about those biohazard containers, about his cryptic warnings, felt hauntingly familiar. She pulled up Wheeler's file again. Extensive international travel, connections to pharmaceutical giants, aliases that led to dead ends. Her phone buzzed, a text from Martinez that made her blood run cold. "Turn on the news," Similar incidents at JFK and O'Hare. They're asking for you and Max specifically. This goes deeper than we thought. Max lifted his head, sensing her tension. Sarah scratched behind his ears, remembering Martinez's words about trust. What are we really dealing with here, boy? The Wheeler case felt different, more personal, more dangerous. The answer came faster than expected. Her secure laptop pinged with an urgent briefing. 3 more suspicious containers discovered at different ports of entry. 2 handlers hospitalized with mysterious symptoms. Max's unique detection ability had identified a threat that standard protocols had completely missed. Sarah stared at their graduation photo, remembering that day with crystal clarity. They'd both been broken in different ways, both doubted by the system. But together, they'd become something extraordinary, something that apparently frightened people in very high places. Her phone buzzed again, this time a number she didn't recognize. You have questions about Wheeler, Officer Collins. So do we. Back entrance, Atlanta Main Library, 9 p.m. Bring the dog. Come alone. This goes beyond what you imagine. Sarah studied Max, who was already alert and watching her intently. Whatever they were walking into, their trust in each other would be their strongest weapon. The real question was, could they trust anyone else? A flash drive fell from Wheeler's file, one she hadn't noticed before. The label read simply, Jake Martinez, Final Case. Sarah's hands trembled as she plugged it into her laptop. Video footage appeared. Jake's last raid, the one that killed him. But something was different about this version. In the background, barely visible, she caught a glimpse of familiar metal containers. The pieces started falling into place. Jake hadn't died in a routine drug bust gone wrong. He'd stumbled onto something bigger, something that now seemed connected to Wheeler and his mysterious cargo. Thunder crashed outside as Sarah gathered her tactical gear. The past was about to collide with the present, and she had a feeling their bond would be tested in ways they never imagined. But as Max pressed against her leg, steady and sure, she knew one thing with absolute certainty: they would face it together, whatever the cost. Her phone lit up one final time. Time's running out, Officer Collins. They're moving the real shipment tonight. Your partner died trying to stop this. Don't make the same mistake. Max's low growl echoed her own instincts. Whatever was coming, it was bigger than both of them. But then again, so was what they had to lose. Sarah checked her weapon, squared her shoulders, and nodded to Max. It was time to finish what Jake had started. Let's go hunting, boy. The Atlanta Main Library loomed against the stormy night sky, its Gothic architecture casting long shadows in the lightning flashes. Sarah parked her unmarked car a block away, rain drumming steadily on the roof. Max sat alert in the passenger seat, his amber eyes fixed on the library's dark silhouette. The events at the airport felt like weeks ago, though only days had passed. Sarah checked her phone, 8:55 p.m. The flash drive from Wheeler's file weighed heavily in her pocket, its contents connecting Jake's death to something far more sinister than she'd imagined. She activated her concealed body camera and keyed her radio, following protocol, despite her instincts screaming that this was off the books. Control, this is Collins, starting reconnaissance at target location. Only static answered. She tried again, adjusting frequencies. Nothing but white noise. Signals being jammed, she muttered, meeting Max's steady gaze. Guess we're really on our own, buddy. His low whine showed he understood the gravity of their situation. They approached the library's rear entrance through sheets of rain, staying in the shadows. Max's posture changed suddenly, the same alert stance from the airport with Wheeler. Sarah drew her weapon as a figure emerged from the darkness. "Inside!" a woman's voice commanded. "Quickly, you're being watched!" The figure stepped into the dim security light, revealing Dr. Catherine Chen, the CDC's lead virologist. Her face showed the strain of sleepless nights. "Sorry for the theatrics, Officer Collins, but we're running out of time. Those containers you and Max discovered, they're just the beginning of something catastrophic." Inside her basement office, Chen pulled up classified files on a secure terminal. 6 months ago, we detected a new pathogen, highly engineered, unlike anything in our databases. Your partner, Jake Martinez, was investigating its source when he was killed. Security footage played across her screen. Jake's final raid, Wheeler visible in the background, those same metal containers being loaded into an unmarked van. He was close to exposing the entire operation. Now they're planning something bigger. Multiple sites, coordinated release. The airport was just a test run. Max growled suddenly, hackles rising. Footsteps echoed in the corridor outside. "Down!" Sarah shouted as bullets shattered the windows. She pushed Chen behind a heavy oak desk as Max lunged at the first attacker through the door, taking him down with practiced precision. In the chaos that followed, Sarah glimpsed familiar faces among the attackers, customs officers, airport security personnel, even a face she recognized from the FBI task force. The corruption ran deeper than she'd imagined. A bullet grazed Sarah's arm, burning hot against her skin. Max took down another assailant but caught a vicious kick to his ribs that sent him sprawling. They were outnumbered, cornered in the basement office with limited exits. Then Chen screamed. A masked figure held her at gunpoint, backing toward the exit. "Stand down, Collins. Tell your mutt to heal or the good doctor dies. We can't let this information get out." Sarah's finger tightened on her trigger. Max tensed beside her, blood matting the fur on his flank. One shot, one chance. But if they were wrong about Chen, about any of this, the choice would change everything. More than just their lives hung in the balance. Thunder crashed outside as rain poured through the broken windows. Chen's eyes met Sarah's, silently pleading. Max waited for the command that would determine all their fates, trusting her completely despite his injuries. This was the moment that would define them, not just as officer and K9, but as partners who trusted each other with their lives. The real question was, were they ready for the consequences of what they might uncover? Sarah thought of Jake, of Wheeler's warnings, of the mysterious containers. Max's breathing was labored, but steady beside her. Chen's research could expose everything, but only if they lived to share it. A phone buzzed in the darkness, the mysterious number from earlier. "Choose wisely, Officer Collins. Some secrets are meant to stay buried." Brain pounded against broken glass as Sarah made her decision, knowing there would be no turning back. Max's muscles tensed, reading her body language as only he could. Together, they had one chance to get this right. Lightning illuminated the scene in stark flashes. Chen's terrified face, the masked attacker's finger tightening on the trigger, Max's unwavering focus, and Sarah's final choice that would change everything. The storm raged on as destiny hung in the balance. The cargo terminal at Hartsfield-Jackson loomed through sheets of rain, its massive structure eerily quiet in the pre-dawn darkness. Sarah's tactical vest felt heavy, the weight of Chen's data drive and her choices pressing against her chest. In the seat beside her, Max's breathing was steady, despite his injuries from the library ambush. His eyes met hers with unwavering focus. He wasn't sitting this one out, bruised ribs or not. "Multiple targets confirmed inside." Martinez's voice crackled through her earpiece. "Thermal imaging shows at least 12 hostiles. They're loading something onto a cargo plane bound for international waters. Whatever Wheeler's team is moving, it has diplomatic clearance. We've got 15 minutes before that plane's wheels up." Sarah checked her weapon, then glanced at the tablet showing Chen's decoded data. The truth was worse than they'd imagined. A coordinated release of engineered pathogens across major transport hubs, timed for maximum impact. Wheeler wasn't just a smuggler. He was part of a network that reached the highest levels of government. "Max, find them," Sarah commanded, unclipping his leash. Despite his limp from the library fight, he moved with purpose, leading them through the labyrinth of cargo containers. The rain masked their approach, but also concealed potential threats. Every shadow could hide an enemy. Thunder rolled overhead as they approached the target zone. Through her night vision goggles, Sarah spotted Wheeler's team loading specialized containers onto the waiting aircraft. She recognized several faces from the library attack: customs officers, federal agents, people who were supposed to protect the public. "Primary target acquired," Sarah whispered into her comm. "Count 4 containers being loaded, similar to the airport seizure. But something's different about this batch." Max's behavior suddenly changed, the same urgent alert he'd given during their first encounter with Wheeler. Sarah followed his signal, scope trained on the cargo hold. That's when she saw it, a container unlike the others, emitting a faint blue glow through its seams. "You really should have stayed at the library, Officer Collins," Wheeler's voice carried through the rain. He stood by the glowing container, looking almost amused. "Some questions aren't meant to be answered. Some secrets need to stay buried, like your partner Jake." Max's growl deepened as Sarah processed Wheeler's words. On the container, a digital display flickered to life, a countdown timer. "Synchronized release," Wheeler continued. "Major airports across 3 continents. The library sample was just a test run. The real show's about to begin, and you're just in time to witness it." Sarah's mind raced through options. The tactical team was 2 minutes out. The plane would be airborne in 10, and that timer kept ticking down. "Last chance, Collins," Wheeler called out. "Walk away, live with the questions. The alternative," he gestured to Jake's badge, which he'd pulled from his pocket. "Well, your old partner made his choice." Rain pounded against metal containers as Sarah weighed impossible options. A sudden movement caught her eye. One of Wheeler's men was aiming not at her, but at the containers themselves. "Insurance policy," Wheeler explained. "Those pathogens get released here, now, or they get released at their targets later. Your choice, but choose fast." Max's muscles tensed beneath his tactical vest, reading Sarah's body language as only he could. Years of partnership, of trust, had led to this moment. Whatever they decided would echo far beyond this night. Through her earpiece, Martinez's voice: "Team in position, awaiting your call, Collins. But something's wrong. We're picking up similar incidents at O'Hare and JFK. This is bigger than we thought." Sarah looked at Max, saw the same resolve she felt. Together they'd stopped Wheeler once, but this wasn't about stopping a smuggler anymore. This was about preventing a global catastrophe. The rain poured harder as lightning split the sky. Sarah made her decision knowing there would be no turning back. Max understood. He always did. Sometimes the hardest choices are the only ones that matter. "Martinez," Sarah keyed her comm, "on my mark, and whatever happens, it's been an honor." The cargo terminal erupted in chaos as their choice changed everything. Wheeler's smile faltered as he realized what they'd done. The timer kept counting down as destiny unfolded in the Georgia rain. The dawn broke over Atlanta as emergency vehicles surrounded the cargo terminal. The night's rain had finally stopped, leaving puddles that reflected the flashing lights of CDC response units, tactical teams, and federal vehicles. Sarah watched as hazmat teams secured Wheeler's containers, her hand resting on Max's head. Despite his injuries, he hadn't left her side. "Multiple arrests across 3 continents," Martinez reported, approaching them. "London, Singapore, Frankfurt, all hit simultaneously. Your call tonight triggered a coordinated takedown we've been planning for months. Wheeler's network is finished." The aftermath unfolded like a tidal wave. International news networks broadcasted footage of the arrests, congressional hearings were scheduled, and intelligence agencies worldwide scrambled to contain the fallout. Sarah spent weeks in secured briefing rooms, testifying about everything from the initial airport discovery to the final confrontation. Max, still sporting bandages from the library fight, accompanied her to every session. His presence became legendary among the federal agents, the dog who detected what billions in security equipment had missed. When he limped into briefing rooms, hardened intelligence officers would pause to pay their respects. 1 month after the terminal showdown, Sarah sat in Martinez's office, reviewing the completed investigation files. "Wheeler talked," he said, sliding a thick folder across his desk. "Gave up everything: names, locations, funding sources. The operation went higher than anyone imagined. Cabinet members, military officials, even foreign diplomats. Sarah opened the file, Max resting his head on her lap. The evidence was staggering, a decade-long conspiracy to develop undetectable bioweapons using international shipping networks for distribution. Jake had discovered it months before his death, documenting everything in encrypted files. "Your partner was a hero," Martinez continued softly. His final case notes mentioned a special K9 unit that might be key to detecting the engineered pathogens. He'd identified something unique in Max's capabilities, something that made him different from other detection dogs. Sarah studied her partner, remembering their journey. The broken cop and the rescued fighting dog, both carrying scars that had somehow made them stronger together. Their bond hadn't just solved cases, it had prevented a global catastrophe. "There's more," Martinez said, pulling out another document. "CDC and Homeland Security are establishing a specialized K9 unit for biohazard detection. They want you and Max to lead the training program. Your methods, your partnership, it's become a model they want to replicate." Max's ears perked up at the change in Martinez's tone. Sarah smiled, scratching behind them. They'd found their true calling, a way to honor Jake's memory by protecting others. Some bonds, she realized, transcend tragedy to become something greater. The investigation's impact rippled through the international security community. New protocols were established based on Sarah and Max's detection methods. Training programs worldwide began incorporating their techniques. What had started as a unique partnership had evolved into a revolution in bioweapon detection. Wheeler's trial revealed the full scope of the conspiracy. His testimony exposed a network that had operated in shadows for years, using diplomatic immunity and corporate fronts to move their deadly cargo. The containers they'd discovered at the airport were just the tip of an iceberg that could have changed the course of history. Sarah received commendations from agencies she hadn't known existed. Max was awarded honors never before given to a K9 officer. But sitting in her apartment, looking at Jake's recovered badge, she knew the real victory wasn't in the medals or recognition. "We did it, boy," she whispered to Max, who lay beside her desk. "We finished what Jake started." Her partner responded with a soft whine, understanding in those amber eyes that had seen her through her darkest moments. The morning sun streamed through Martinez's window as Sarah considered their future. The specialized unit would mean new challenges, new partnerships to forge. But looking at Max, she knew they were ready. Some partnerships were destined to become legends, and theirs was just beginning its next chapter. "Ready for a new adventure, partner?" she asked. Max's tail thumped against the floor, his answer, as always, clear and unwavering. As they left the office, Sarah caught their reflection in the window, the cop and her dog, stronger together than apart. Behind them, Atlanta's skyline stretched toward the horizon, a reminder of all they'd protected and all that lay ahead. The case was closed, but their legacy was just beginning. In the end, it wasn't just about solving crimes or stopping threats. It was about trust, loyalty, and the unbreakable connection between a handler and her dog. Max had given her back something she thought she'd lost forever, faith in herself and others. And that, Sarah knew, was worth more than all the medals in the world.